think I'm excited. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Friday Social. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we're going to talk about, and I would definitely want everybody's input on every topic and definitely on all these points, because I know you're all employees, employers, creating valuable contribution. And at the same time, I want all of you to pitch in to figure out how do we create this balance, right? Productivity versus happiness. So please feel free to pitch in anytime. You don't even need to, well, actually, it's nice if you can raise hands so that I pause and allow you, give you the mic. But yes, this is a very, very important topic, and all the companies, a majority of the companies are focusing a lot on it right now. But in the past, it was more about the productivity. So I was asking my youngest this morning that I was sharing with him, like, I'm going to talk about this today. We're going to explore different options about this. So I showed it to him and I said, what do you think, productivity or happiness? What do you think he chose? What do you think he thought I would say if we want to choose one of the two?
Happy, obviously.
I know, it's like he goes, duh, happiness. He goes, isn't that like an easy topic? What's there to talk about? I said, well, a majority of companies still have not figured how to do that. And that's why they're losing over $500 billion in productivity, because they can't keep the employees happy enough. So if it's that obvious to a child, why is it so not obvious to adults? I want to hear some talk, some shares.
Yeah, because that's where, he's expert at happiness, and slowly he will start losing as he grows up. And when he joins the corporate, he's at 0% battery.
Good one, Srini.
Yes, and when the child is 8 months, have you observed them? They are intent. They find an ant on the floor. They find a piece of rice on the floor. They're like studying it like crazy. The brain at that age, up until 5 years, is growing at 5 times faster. So now imagine these are scientists, these are little scientists, and they don't know the difference between play and work. And they're working like crazy. They need to walk, they need to learn, they need the language, they need to learn how to eat, they need to learn to communicate, and they have no vocabulary, right? And so we have to realize that children are working their brains at least are working 5 times faster than us, and they are exponentially growing. And they are working more than all of you, all of us, I should say. So how come that they think it's play? Because they haven't created the difference, right? This is work, this is play. So we need that work-life balance. For them, it's all work actually, but then they realize it's all play. Isn't that an incredible flow state to be in, where we cannot differentiate, oh, am I working or am I having fun? At that level, we are going to be at times 5 times 10, like 10x of what we do, if we can focus on that elusive happiness. And I want each of you to define, what is happiness at workplace for you? If you had a magic wand, what would you do? I'll pick if you don't offer. So Prasad, please go ahead. Anybody else? Indrani, what would a happiness, how does happiness
I would like
at work? Workplace.
My honest answer is till 5 years, work is my happiness in the office, only work. And after 5th year, I find out something that is very interesting thing, that is happiness is something different from work. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't get bored at work. I love to work always. But I get something different kind of feeling after 5th year. That I have to give space to my happiness, my private happiness, instead of working, and keeping my head into the computer.
You know what?
To express that.
Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know how to express that. Then I find out, including this happiness, I innovate many things in my software applications. I started innovating many things, multiple things. Till 50 year, I worked hard, like more than 10 years, 10 hours and 11 hours, but I didn't get innovated anything. I only started educated myself. I started developed my skill myself, but there is no happiness in that. Of course, happiness, I thought that happiness is my work. Yeah.
That's a very interesting take. Thank you for that, Indrani. So when I was doing my research, right, I saw that the disengaged employees cause a dip in production, which is around $550 billion. So you were not, it's not just about hating your work when we are disengaged, like whatever happened to you after 5 years, right? You're like, nah. Then when the job doesn't excite us, there is no reason to give the job our best. We'll do mediocre. We'll hang in there because it pays. So that is very costly to companies. And I think it was over 50 to almost 60% of employees quit, not because of the money, but because of the culture of the bosses, like the attitude. It matters so much because we're emotional creatures. We don't need, even though we get the job initially, a lot of us, for the pay, and then the benefits, right? But if the culture doesn't support happiness, the productivity falls sharply. So the other point is actually I saw, when I did the research, there are 5 employee there are 5 dips happen when happiness is not respected at workplace. So one is definitely employee burnout, and they say productivity falls by 50%. An example is with Uber. It seems in 2018 they were, people realized that it's toxic work culture, extremely long hours and really high stress, and their productivity went down by 50%. And so companies like, these top companies, they turned it around by creating a remedy. So they started having paid time off and then mental health support. And within a year, they decreased that 50% to 35%, which is huge, in a big company. So I want to know about the employee burnout. Like, did you guys ever feel in your past a burnout that the company did something about it or didn't? Good news? Any good news shares?
It does happen.
Sorry?
They kind of make like a robot.
Robot, yes. I think somehow your voice is not clear. Is it me or is it you guys too? Do you hear Prasad clearly?
No, actually, it is not clear.
Yeah, something is muffled, Prasad.
Yeah, it does impact quite a bit, and then we need to. That's one of the things. Either you should change the role, or you should do things differently. And the more we see the enjoyment when it becomes a two-way session or interactive session. If you're into the meetings,
Yes.
they ask you the feedback, or they ask you what can we do differently and things like that. So when you see the real, when you see some of the inputs taken has been implemented or taken into the actions, rather than just taking the notes and then don't do anything. So that is where all the things are. Every day is a learning curve. At some point, something different will learn. So today I learned from you that how the mindset of 8 months to a 5-year-old, that we never pay attention. But I know we passed those stages of the kids, but now Again, the next generation we might get into that thing. But my point, the happiness only can be, it's a mindset again, how your day starts and how you are thinking and how the interaction comes, and then how the day goes along. And sometimes it's a good day, sometimes it's a bad day. But again, the happiness is something you achieve. Or sometimes somebody praises you, somebody recognizes your inputs,
Yes.
or give a value add to your opinion or feedback or inputs. So yeah.
Well said. Yes. Thank you, Prasad. Completely. It's how you feel at the end of the day and how you feel valued. Are you seen? Do you feel seen? Do you feel heard? Do you feel valued? And that happens when the higher ups take attention, pay attention, and like you're saying, they may just nod at the meetings, but if they don't do something about it, in fact, for us right now, a huge thing was happening with the Mind Valley that I'm part of. And, Vishen himself, the founder of Mind Valley, like he was brought down to his knees almost, but in a very, very kind, compassionate, but yet at the same time, like people questioning him. And he was absolutely like, he showed so much ethical transparency. He said, I am sorry. Yes, I agree. These things are not working, did not work out properly. And right away, he took a survey and he wanted to figure out how to turn things around. And this was a $3 million project that he started. And he was going to take a hit. He goes, if even one of you are not satisfied, I'm not going to continue with this program. And I will refund 100%, even though the 2 weeks is long gone, right? It's been almost 6 months. But I could see how a really good leader values. It's never about the money. It's about the impact you're making. And if your employees are not satisfied or disengaged, even if you're getting if you're squeezing work out of them and you're successful and your clients like you and all that stuff, but if the spokes of your engine, right, if they are not valued, it's gonna hurt the company. So definitely. And there's some certain thing, like if companies don't respect employees, there is the employee workplace negativity, and that's supposed to reduce proven to reduce productivity by 30%, so almost 1/3. So the example here is Amazon in 2018 was severely criticized for their demanding and competitive workplace. And so again, these good companies do something about it. They hear it. They don't say, well, no, not really. And compared to some other company, we're better, right? They're not doing that. So they actually, by 2020, which is like within 2 years, they turned it around. They created something called Amazon Career Choice, where they started giving tuition assistance for training and education. Definitely, when an employee is being engaged and nurtured and improving in their value, improved, like you feel good when we're doing something good to ourselves and investing in ourselves and our mental growth or stimulation. Like Indrani was talking about, after 5 years, what if you reach a plateau, right? And the company is encouraging you to get training and stuff. So other example of what happens when happiness isn't respected is losing that work-life balance. It's work, 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 and you're squeezed and you're like robots and you have nothing at the end of the day. Though productivity is proven, according to Harvard Review, by 23%, which is again almost a quarter of your productivity is gone, because the employees are not able to spend enough time with family, with quality time in their life, right? So they feel like worker bees. And, you feel like you have to get away, escape into a vacation because your everyday life is torture. You need to plan, that's why the advertisements are all about getaways or escape. And because what does that even mean? Like when we see advertisements like that, should we be thinking like, oh, what am I trying to run away from? My life or my everyday life? My mindset, what is it? right? So I want to know how is, give me a number 1 to 10, from 1 to 10, all of you, right? On your work-life balance. Where is your number currently? Let's start with Ravi. You can type a number or you can like cough a number out. Or and everybody just share. What's your 1 to 10 work-life balance?
Currently, it's 8 for me.
Nice. That's very good. Above average. Prasad is 7. Very nice. Anybody from Kojin, please make sure it's above 8. Nice, Kishore. Very good. It's 9. I was joking. Srini's right here to fix that number to go up, so feel free, Cogent employees. Okay, so I hear a 7, 9, 8. Good enough. I haven't heard from Nandan. Madhu. Okay, very nice to hear.
Sorry, driving the kids back home from the school. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, so in 2016, it seems Goldman Sachs was again criticized for their grueling work-life culture, and the employee turnover was really high. I remember working at a company where the employee turnover was so high. Like you walk in not knowing like which desk will be empty or with a box the next day. So when happiness is never respected, it was a private company, so for them the bottom line mattered all the time. So people worked. I mean, people worked because they were afraid to be laid off. But the morale was so low. And I think they don't look back to that company right now with like, oh, that was so nice, right? Anyway, thank God Goldman Sachs did something about it. And within 4 years, right? So they created something called Saturday off and protect your weekend. This is sad, no? When a company is like encroaching into the weekend and the nighttime. And I know this happened ever since the introduction of Blueberry or Blackberry. What was it called? I think Blackberry. So your projects were not limited to the work time anymore, 9 to 5. It's now beyond, like, the projects at nighttime, bedtime, it infiltrated the family time, dinner time, anytime. Because if your project is on, it's live, it's going live, that's it. Your life, you're almost as bad as an ER doctor, making sure. Someone needs to mute. There's a bit noise. Okay, thank you.
Sheetal, is confident on the work and happiness is interlinked? I think so.
Confidence in work?
And happiness at workplace.
Completely, because when you are lacking confidence in anything, it doesn't matter how good you are, it's going to reflect on your happiness, because happiness is a side product of what you do. It's not a direct, oh, I'm going to eat this ice cream and I'm going to get happy. It does not work that way, because it's, after some time, you'll feel guilty that you had the ice cream, especially if you had more servings than necessary. So confidence in work, and that I'm going to request Kishore to mute if you're not sharing right now, Kishore. I don't know where that noise is coming from, but thank you. It's gone again. So yeah, I'm going to ask this question. In any workplace, for happiness to be high, is it the people or is it the policies? Which one matter? Or systems, I should say. Srini, what are you going to say?
Sorry, what is, I just got distracted in the just last 30 seconds. You said which is important, like systems or
Yes,
what is it?
systems or the employees, the type of employees or the type of systems?
Oh, definitely type of employees. Yeah.
What do
Right.
how come?
Yeah, because ultimately employees have to drive the systems. That's it.
Okay, I'm going to give another take on this. So if ultimately it's always the people, I understand. But in a company, say for example, the computers are faulty and they can't work properly, or I say at Vegorama, right? The suppliers are not coming or something else is happening and the system is shutting down. At the end of the day, you have to report a certain number. At the end of the month, there's a certain number. Most of the huge organizations run that way. Like at Ford Motor Company, they need to make certain number of cars. They need to have certain number of paychecks going out. They need to have with their, what do you call them? Like investors, clients, who's the other one? They have,
shareholders.
yeah, so they have responsibilities at the end of the day. They can't just say, oh, it's okay. So if the systems like at a Ford facility, right, factory facility is not working properly, but at the end of the day, at the end of the quarter, they have deliverables that they cannot change. Now the people are stressed out. The people are now having to pick up the burden where the systems failed. So many times in companies, whether it's rookie employees starting new, they are burdened with a certain system that they will not have compassion to upgrade or to explain properly. And now the responsibility of happiness and the deliverables, the deadlines, meeting the deadlines, everything is on the people. So good companies, like I was sharing, are changing the systems and not giving pep talk to their employees saying, you can do this, you got this, we're here to make our company better. Like we're Ford family. Like they're not doing that, right? So that's why I was asking whether it is systems or whether it's people. So it's very clear that if the system is broken or if it's not optimum, then the whole concept suffers. I think Srini's gone. So I want to hear a couple of takes on this. What do you think?
But Sheetal, that's not employees' problem, right?
That's exactly what I was saying. Systems versus employees is that when good companies pay attention to systems and not focus only on employees, improve. So that's exactly what I was saying, Indrani.
So, Mishital, in my opinion, hi, this is Nandan. I think employee happiness and the related productivity would be a essential component of developing a good system. So, any good corporate which is focused on growth and commitment towards the employees for retention, they would have a proper system in place which would cater to employee happiness also.
Definitely. That's the point, is that the systems have to be upgraded constantly, keeping in mind the employee satisfaction. And that will definitely result in.
What about work from home culture?
Yes,
What about
that's
work
a
from home
type
culture?
of system, and that's
Is any system we are going? Yeah. Is any system we are going to is going to helpful for us?
yes. I mean, it's proven that flexibility in work schedules improves the productivity. That's another system change, right? In the past, not many companies were open to the flexible work schedules, and after the COVID
Yeah.
dhamaka, right? Everybody was like, yes, we got this, we can do this, we'll keep going no matter what. And now suddenly it's a possibility for pretty much every company. Anything you want to add? Anybody else? Prasad, Kishore, Madhu?
Yeah, so the
Sheetal, I think if the system is great, but the people around you are not, and you don't have a good equation with them, you're going to be still miserable.
Okay, I hear you. I think you'll have to mute. Okay. Thank you. So sorry. I don't know why. When you're on, I have an echo. Kishore, were you going to say
yeah,
something?
yeah. So if you look back, the transformation of the work-life balance and the how productivity and happiness, which are the two main components we are talking about, the balance of two, how the shift has been happening in the past, let's say study for the past 20 years. The remote working culture is a big part of it. If you, I still remember early stages of my career when I was working 5 days a week at the office, things were very different. Things were still productive at that time because you have a lot of interaction with people. You have people working next door, you have people in the next cubicle, next office. You are able to go talk to people,
Yes.
chat with people, ask for help, and also have the kind of interaction. One day a week in my first job, we used to go out for lunch one day a week, no matter what, as a group. And,
Yes,
and,
yes.
and that was that was a big part of what made us happy as a group.
I know it's not your life, Kishore, but I remember this joke during that time that was shared, like people breaking up because
Mhm.
now they have to face the partner at home all the
Mhm.
time.
Exactly, yeah.
They were going to work to, de-stress, and that was like fun friends. And I remember going out to this Middle Eastern restaurant once in a few, like some Fridays, lunches, or in the past going to the mall nearby with my girlfriends when I was starting off in IT. Yes, those are like really, especially when you're done working by 6 and then the sun is setting and then you have responsibilities at home and you have to cook, you have to feed your kids, you have to take them to classes. The only time you have with the buddies is at work.
Right, exactly. Made very good friends at work, learned a lot from each other during those interactions. And
Yes,
also, yeah, you hit on the big point there. At 6 o'clock, when work is done, you just shut down, and that's it. You don't go home with all those problems of
yes,
work, and then
yes,
the family time, kids, friends, entertainment, everything starts then. But with the remote
yes,
work, it's tricky to balance that, bring that kind of happiness back because work never ends. The sun never sets on the work unless you make it happen
yes.
explicitly.
Yes,
It's
yes.
on
Now
you.
the responsibility is on you. Exactly. That's actually a brilliant point, and that's very true because not everybody wants, I mean, that is a flexibility. To choose to go to work is flexibility. I know friends who are like, okay, it's been so long, I've been at home, I have to go to work. And yes, I can do this meeting at home too, but I want to go. Like we are social creatures. We belong to, a society, and it's like the ancient the DNA that's in us coming from ancient times, where if you are out of, so this is a group, and if you're out of the group, you're it's like life or death for you. If you're in the group, it's life. So when you are out of the group in a tribal scenario, right? You're at the mercy of wild animals, nature, like you have no protection. When you belong to this community, you connect, you vibe, and one of the things that Cogent social the Cogent and Let Us Talk It is that a lot of community is involved in so many projects, and that keeps the employee engaged. So it's even more important now to engage employees, and this initiative to have a Cogent Social, the biggest reason is that to improve the happiness quotient and thereby the productivity. I think Ravi in the past gave a number of 30% improvement even with few months of Cogent Social, because everybody that's working in this company is remote. They've not met each other in person, but at least now we were meeting. And initially, even more, it was all about the employees, and they would share good news. Their little baby walked, or someone just got married. So that togetherness that Kishore is talking about is now virtual. you know and the good point there is that they've done these experiments time and again with the Olympic athletes, um, where they can practice it at whatever sport that they're going for, like in competition. They can physically practice it or they can visualize it. The body cannot differentiate, it seems. In fact, they visualize hitting that home run, they visualized acing the gold medal, and it seems everything in the body, all the hormones were producing exactly as if they were really doing it. So even if it's virtual, if we are, for example, show our faces, talk to each other, share, basically put yourself out there, you're going to have the same benefits, at least, as close as possible to when you're physically meeting people, like that work culture you're talking about. And you must have been one of the fewer luckier peoples, or else there you go. Thank you, Madhu. Yes, thank you. And by the way, whatever we explore here, learn from each other, discuss, right? It's the most effective. They call it, what is it? How quickly you can practice it, how quickly you can turn around and practice it. Like, for example, Madhu just heard it and she turned on her thing because that actually improves, her rate of success in life in every other area, even though it's only one aspect and it's just a matter of I come up with the word unvideo. I don't know if that's the word, but basically make yourself, you put yourself more out there, you receive that as much. So yes, you're right, Kishore, and thank you for mentioning that. And that is why we need even more engagement. And just because engagement doesn't mean you are obligated and then you go to these office parties and you go, there's the other side of it too. There are people who are doing amazingly good stuff at home, like, working at home, but that's because they also have company, they also have, like you said, the responsibility is on us. So they have engagements outside of work. They have friend circle. They're still connected with their maybe childhood friends. Maybe they are part of the neighborhood association. Maybe they have a roaring, fun or gym buddies. So if we don't do that, what we have done until now, which is a good thing, but it's almost like a pacifier, right? You didn't make any initiatives to take care of yourself, so now your work colleagues are your buddies, and that's a slippery slope. Because I know this is a Friday social, and if you see some fine print on the flyer, it says we are strictly unofficial. So one of the sad things about that is that people have relationships with the workplace because they're spending more time at workplace than with family. People have distorted version of what is reality. They think reality is bottom line of some company that's just, using you, like Prasad was saying, most of the time, like robots. You're only there because your education brought you there, or you want money, or they're close to you, or something about it, right? It is, after all, a business transaction. Why is it that we have, I'm saying it's a good thing that we have created friendships, that we have created community. It's a very, very good thing. But at the same time, why are we away from our families? Why are we not doing this same bond with the extended families, with long distance, with, especially we're all international right now? Why are we not, like Kishore is doing an amazing example of cultivating a community around traditional Carnatic music? And so why are most of us not doing something like that? Why are we falling on the crutches of using workplace colleagues or someone next to my cubicle, or going out only with them? That's my question, and I would love to hear some takes on it. And Madhu, if you unmute, I'll be quiet until you mute, okay? You can go ahead if you want to share something. Okay. Oh, well, you're already muted, so any shares on this? So she,
Even I too have the same view, Sheetal, because while we are in our office, we by at least 9 hours or 10 hours minimum, 9 to 10 hours we have to spend on that, by going to office, while coming from office, and while staying in office, minimum 10 hours we have to spend on that. But now this culture, this remote culture is changed everything. We are meeting our childhood friends. We are able to do some social works or services. We are ready to available to our family members 24/7, and also we are able to do our office works very well.
very nice, very nice.
We are covering many areas in our lives, so not only office life, we are covering many areas. And now I'm in front of Sheetal also. If I'm in office, maybe I couldn't.
Yes.
It's not possible. I can't say that, because while coming there may be traffic, huge traffic. I have to cross the traffic. It may become 10 p.m. or 9:30 or 9 p.m. I get tired. I can't sit in front of Sheetal today. Many things. So I'm covering many things, many eras in my life because of this remote culture.
I love it. And
Yeah.
definitely that's one of the biggest productivity increases.
And this is increasing my skills This gave me the opportunity actually to
Yes.
come to know, to learn many things.
Yes.
Yeah, to learn many things from many people, different kind of people.
Very, very true. Do you guys hear the noise from outside?
No.
Okay, that's good then. You're absolutely right. And when I was in corporate America and, I had friendships, yes, I mingled with, international community. I've definitely, there's a lot of plus points. I worked in the global headquarters of Ford Motor Company. So whenever James Bond movie was out, the Aston Martins were there on display, the Jaguars, all the cars that were used in James Bond car. I went past them and all I wanted is for them to give me, especially after my baby was born, to allow me flex time. And when the initially another boss, so supervisor, whoever it was, he would ask me, "What time do you want to come in the morning?" I would say 7 or 7:15. And you know what he said? Pick one time. It's like, oh my God. And because it's about when we focus so much on productivity, you lose the soul of the person working. You make them feel like a worker bee. Now realize how much work a queen bee is doing. When you give autonomy to an employee, right? They realize, wait, they start thinking like an employer. They take the ownership of the project. They drive the product in a way that they wouldn't have if they were treated like they were limited. So I was like, okay, fine, 7:15, right? And then I would be able to go home by 3:15, and there was no lunch hour. But I would still have, I had a baby at home, so I would need them to allow me to pump at work. And that was such a embarrassing ask for me to ask them because I wanted the baby not to stop nursing so much that you would have to start talking. But now a lot more companies are aware. They're taking care of the new moms, new dads. They're letting the dads go home too, not just the moms. And I think it was Clinton that came up with the FMLA Act. So before that, we were treated as worker bees, and it was all about productivity and productivity and productivity, right? But now we are seen as human beings. We are seen as human beings, and the more freedom we're given, the more powerful the project comes out to be. In fact, later on, I experienced an amazing boss who was only 33 at the time, was so playful, so playful. He always took off early so he could play tennis. And he said, "I don't care. Do whatever you want, Sheetal." You know what? That made me step up so high that the two projects I worked on during that time was mentioned in the department, some big deal. I didn't know what that was, but then they mentioned it in the department meeting with 500 people. And all he said was, "Go play." He never acted, and this was my first IT job. And I remember, like, he made me realize who I want to be when I am in charge of projects. And then the previous person reminded me what I don't want to like pick a time, being so harsh with times. So definitely, like I was saying earlier, almost 60% of workforce leaves because of the boss. Now, great leaders and like Srini, they know employee engagement is the key. They put humor in, they appreciate, like you don't even feel like you're talking to a CEO, you're talking to a friend. I want to hear some things on it. Like, what kind of bosses did you guys have? Who inspired you?
Run, boss. Run, boss.
Run, bus.
Run. He's having 60 plus years of old. Oh my God, such an enthusiastic person he is.
Oh, your boss?
Yes, my boss.
Oh.
I think there is no my boss in this list, right? No here. Thank God.
Never know. Srini sends the recorded videos of this to people.
Then I'm not defend. Pronounce his name.
Definitely. So let's talk about the 5 things negative things that will happen at work of how the productivity goes down if happiness or the employee is not respected as a human that needs emotional, the EQ of the employee. So number one is employee burnout. We talked about it. Number two, so the remedy was that Uber offered paid time off and mental health support. Number two is workplace stress, which brings down $300 billion per year, according to the American Institute of Stress. So the company here, Salesforce, they had also this highest pressure sales culture, it seems. So they created the remedy by introducing mindfulness programs and employee resource groups. So if someone just had a death, they'll have a resource group for that. Someone's going through emotional or relationship struggles, they'll have a resource for that. So that support as human being, like Kishore was talking about, you form buddies because that's where you're spending a majority of your life, right, at this place. So if you have a guided cohort, that's leading you through different difficult parts of your life, of course, you're going to have loyalty for this company, right? So yeah, so they started doing the employee resource groups, and within 2 years, they turned around and reduced the stress. And third one is disengaged employees. Like in Wells Fargo, it seems there was a scandal that they had many fraudulent sales practices. So they turned it around by improving the employee morale by a program called Reignite, where they started training and developing. People can, if to meet the sales quota, they might do whatever, hook or crook. But instead, you take them and develop them as a human being, as in their leadership, in how they can connect face to face to customers, they'll naturally do better. So instead of letting them figure out how to do these sales, they improved their selling quality. So then that naturally improved the employee engagement. And the other one, the fourth one, is workplace negativity. I remember working for this private company when they, after 6 months of interviews, 3 full-on, many hours of interviews, they said, if you're going to get in, no, what did they say? They said, we only hire extremely smart people. And I started my self-talk back then. I was like, no matter what, you're really smart. Like, no matter what they decide, I told myself, you're okay, it's fine. But of course, I didn't want to be proved if they didn't hire me, right? You know how normal companies, they say like decent way of not hiring would be like, right now we don't have this position, or right now we don't have a need. They don't put it on you, right? Because it was a private company who could talk whatever. They were like, we only hire extremely smart people. So we'll let you know. I was like, so if they don't hire me, what am I supposed to like traumatize myself for the next interview? But anyway, they hired me. I was like, phew, I knew it. My mom always said this. But their biggest thing at the interview, where I was onboarded, was that we don't like office politics. We want very high positive work culture. But the way they said it, this is the company that has the highest turnover that I have ever seen, right? Where people don't know walking in. But they were threatening to the new employee the way they were saying, like, you better be positive. That's all we want. Don't talk behind. I was like, but that's not the way to achieve, It's like the joke in the Office Space. Have you guys seen the movie Office Space? Not the series.
Yeah,
Not the series, the movie. You have seen? You sure?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That guy with the stapler. That's a popular joke.
You guys are missing out if you don't watch. It's an old movie now, but all I can say is at the end, the IT hardworking guy in IT finds his happiness as a construction worker in nature. But anyway, it's like the joke, right? The firings will continue until the morale improves in the company. It's like how you threaten kids, like, you better not cry or else I'll give you something to cry about. You're like, mm. So we have to realize how authoritarian we are at home, and then how much of that do we like at work, right? So the fourth one is the workplace negativity. And fifth one is the lack of work-life balance, where you're not protecting the weekends, you're not respecting that they have more to life than working for you. So now let's talk about the 5 strategies that I researched, and these are very typical, and I hope your workplace has all of these. First one is social connection, which is what we're having right now. And which is what Kishore was mentioning, that a lot of us miss out because of the remote culture. But smart people like Indrani, and of course even Kishore with his Carnatic Association, Music Association, right? We maintain, it's on us. It's not on the company anymore, or like the lucky cubicle next door is a fun person, right? So the companies that encourage the social connection, cross-department collaboration, off-site meetings, happy hours, it could be with kombucha. So these kind of things are number 1. Number 2, and Google is well known for this, right? Number 2 is work-life balance, definitely. So this is where flexible hours come. Kishore will take the flexibility and go to work in a building, and Indrani will take that and go talk to her family. And most importantly,
I almost be with my friends. Yeah.
very nice. Yes. So, and the important part of this is, if Srini is introducing, right, a flex schedule for his employees, they need to see him model it too. So they need to see him take time off. They need to see him spend time with his kids and his wife, and then go on vacation. Right, Srini?
Hardly.
So when yatha raja tatha praja, so how we are is how our culture, we are encouraging it by our role modeling, right? So how well he takes care, like last week Srini shared that he started going to the gym and his family is becoming more active. So all these reflect, even if they're not as part of wellness programs, they see how the leader is, and then the people follow. So yeah, the work-life balance in policies, like systems we're talking about, as well as the leaders, the managers, the directors emulating it, right? Being an example. So the third one is growth and development training. So companies like LinkedIn, they have a lot of career growth training going on for their employees. So any company I think most companies are encouraging that, getting certifications, getting trained in your job or something like that. So these 3 things. Fourth one is to recognize and appreciate employees. So we know that the milestones are encouraged, the regular feedback like Prasad was talking about, and more importantly, peer-to-peer recognition. So Southwest Airlines, it seems, has something called Spirit Awards, and where they allow peers to recognize their peers. And the fifth one, very important, is to foster a sense of purpose and meaning. So basically, encourage the employees to tie in their work to the company's mission and vision. That way, you will have loyalty like crazy. Like when you tie up their life purpose and your company's life purpose, right? You have people volunteering like crazy, because it gives all of us want a sense of worth. Like we don't just are existing to eat or make money, but that because of us, someone's breathing happier. So in Salesforce, again, it seems they made sure that their purpose is at the core, and they created this 1-to-1-to-1 modeling, where 1% of the time, the equity, and the product, it seems it goes to a social cause. So anytime a company ties up like a percentage, even if it's 1%, to uplifting our community, it creates that that happiness. Like I said, happiness is a side product of what we choose to do. I would like to hear any shares on any of these that we talked about. And after that, I want to go real quick over 5 innovative ideas and I want Shini's reflection on this too. Any shares?
It's not only career, whatever it may be like you, who you are.
Authenticity.
That gives us most confidence and happiness in life everywhere.
Correct. Because who you are is who you're taking to work, right? You can't fake it for 10 hours and then come back home and then take that mask off. So that happiness definitely has to come from within. So let's talk about the 5 unique and innovative workplace strategies. Srini, I hope you're listening. So the first one you will love, which is to implement quiet time or focus time. So companies like Buffer, it's a social media management company. It seems they have, they encourage employees to block off time on calendar. They also have quiet zones in the office, or if they're working from home, right? They encourage that even with work from home employees, or they'll have the, absolute quiet cubicles where you are given the gift of calmness. I mean, maybe it won't work for everybody. Some people like to work in chaos, probably. Especially you take a Wall Street person and put them, they'll think it's a detention or something. But they make soundproof cubicles so that it's not just the big bosses, with corner offices that are cut off from the chaos, but even employees who are coming to focus, because you focus tremendously. Maybe we don't realize it. And for those people that are triggered by too much quiet, like Vipassana, right? What we don't realize is that any kind of innovation you've seen in the past is from that extreme quietness. When he did the Eureka from the bathtub, it was absolute quiet, like he was in his own mind, and that's when creativity shoots up. So the more we can recognize this and help our employees to go internal and absorb that quiet zone, that silence zone, the more companies that are progressive are going to realize this more. Like, I'm not calling it meditation, I'm calling it quiet zone. And so companies like Buffer are already doing it. Number 2 is create opportunities for employee-led innovation. So this is like hosting hackathons or innovation challenges where the employees pitch and develop their own ideas. So this creates that, it's like what I do with my voice. For example, we had the festival the other day and we make that, Ugadi Pachadi, everybody Telugu here, I don't know. But it's that, it's like liquid salad, right? I tell them, figure it out. And they're excited by it because I made it their project. I was completely off hands. Now, if a leader can do that, right? If you can do that at work, where it's you do whatever you want. This is what I want. Like, you give them guidelines, obviously. That autonomy of coming up with your own ideas, like they decided how much mango, they decided how much jaggery goes in there, they decided like if they want the neem leaves or neem flowers, like whatever. So companies like Intuit, it's a financial software company. They encourage employees to pitch new ideas, and they have a lab. They call it Intuit Lab. So Srini, you could have something with let's talk it ideas. I know you're doing that already behind, but I'm just making it more official. So the third one is flexible vacation policies. Believe it or not, company like HubSpot. So this is a marketing software company. They have unlimited time offs for their employees. Can you believe that a company like that exists? But their caveat is finish your work and then you do whatever you want. You can go as long as you want, but this is the project. So this unlimited, uncapped vacation is...
I think this is in Japan, right? Sorry for the interruption.
I don't think so. HubSpot?
I came across this company.
Yeah, maybe we can Google. Yeah, HubSpot, maybe it is, I don't know. But this is online. So another thing is to encourage micro breaks, or there's something concept called sabbatical. Do you guys know about it? The word sabbatical? So it's actually a church.
Yeah.
Christian term. Who is saying that, Kishore?
Yeah. I said yeah. Sabbatical is Big companies offer this long vacation once in 5-6 years.
Okay.
To go pursue some activity or passion you have
Yeah,
3-4 months at a time. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came to know about it many years ago. It was so weird, and it was actually a relationship concept. Like, the church encourages couples to take a sabbatical I don't know what that was. That's like to take your own separate vacations, but it's not a vacation to have fun with other people, but it's more to have alone time with yourself and then come back, to a more rejuvenated, relationship.
Yeah, it used to be it started the root sabbatical has its roots in the academic world. Professors, you work
Yeah.
for a few years, they are encouraged to go pursue their research interests elsewhere in
Yes.
other universities, other parts of the world. So this started as an opportunity for them to go away for extended periods of time without having to dip into their paid time off. But now it's becoming more popular in large companies in the corporate world as well.
Very nice. Yes, that's true. In fact, my mom is a professor, and I heard it first. Like whenever they say, "Oh, for a year sabbatical," I just thought sabbatical means you take a year off. But later on, I think, I mean, I don't want to be quoted, but I think the term comes from church, like Christianity, that sabbatical where they encourage, 6 months away for partners or something like that. Or maybe like you're saying, after 6 years, 6 months away, something like that, which is definitely long time off to research for your own upliftment and come back. Yeah, so for companies to encourage mini sabbaticals, they can't afford to like let employees just go off, right? Or even longer weekends and shorter work weeks. And the fourth is emphasis on employee well-being through design. So it's not enough you have programs like once in a while, or you have an optometrist come check everybody's eyesight. It's more through design. Like Airbnb, they have a wall, a living wall. So it's full of plants, and they encourage natural daylight. So I don't have artificial lights right now, it's to make sure there are many windows. And definitely ergonomics, matters, right? Standing desks, and we talked in the past, like they have walking spaces where you walk and attend a meeting. What do you call them? Like workplace um treadmill? I don't know. But they have different things, like so that the torso is affected severely by IT employees right now. And it's important to help them live in their body in a more comfortable way. And the fifth one is radical transparency. Someone earlier mentioned that that transparency is important. What's happening? So when we give feedback, what happens to that feedback, or share company financials and performance data with employees, and open communication, take the feedback seriously. So these kind of meetings, regular meetings, town hall meetings, where everybody can voice. It seems when Steve Jobs was alive, and he can eat big time with the Apple products and everything. People were scared. His employees were scared to get on the elevator with him, because by the time it reached, they could have been fired because they didn't answer whatever he asked. So this is extremely toxic. I mean, I'm happy for whoever got fired. I know the pain was intense, but it's better to be fired than to suffer this kind of extreme bossism, right? Now there are companies like Zappos, which is an online shoe and clothing retailer. They have something called holocratic workplace, which is self-management and autonomy by the employee themselves. So they want employees to be weird. They want them to share feedback like crazy. And this, I think, is the direction that all of us, all of our companies, especially progressive companies, are going towards. And to me, the smarter companies focus on the employee happiness, and productivity is a side product. So that's it for today. I would love to hear anything else you have to share. If not, we'll make next week. So I hope you could keep making choices like Indrani said, whether it is work or whether it is personal life.
Yeah, Sheetal, in conclusion, I'd like to just make a comment. I know this is very useful. Much of today's discussion has been around looking from the employee's perspective on how workplace productivity and happiness can be balanced and happiness can be improved where it's lacking. I would also like you to consider in a future session how you look at it from the other end, from the employer's end, from the corporate, from the company's end. What can the employees do to make this happen? Now, today predominantly we talked about what can the
Yeah.
organizations can do.
Today's topic was for
Yeah, exactly.
employers to keep in mind, and
Right. Yeah.
could be a personal, topic too. And we've covered a lot of personal, but we wanted it more for employees. But yeah,
Correct.
your
Correct.
point
Yeah.
well taken. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually tempted a couple of times to jump in and talk about the other side, but I knew that was not the focus of today, so that's why I'm bringing it up at the end in a future session. I have some ideas. Being
Yeah,
on the
please.
other end, I have some ideas I can share if and when you have such a session.
We will. We can have it definitely because most of the time it's the workplaces that have to modify because yes, the grassroots level matters, and all of our sessions are definitely on personal development. So this one we wanted on what kind of workplaces the systems can change. But yes, we can cover that too. We will. Thank you for that suggestion, Kishore.
Perfect.
Madhu, did you want to say something?
Sheetal, for me, your sessions make me really happy. I look forward to your sessions every week. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Madhu. And your presence makes it much positive, and I love your comments and I love your feedback. Thank you so much for the insights that you share from time to time. I really appreciate that. I don't know how we can fix it so we both can talk at the same time, but like in a conversation, I mean. So, and I appreciate that. Any other thing from Nandan and Indrani?
Well, this was my first time joining this Friday social, and I absolutely loved it. Thank you for hosting it. Learned a lot, and I look forward to joining more sessions each week.
Thank you, Nandan. And like Kishore, you could have your input as in like what topics we can cover, because I pull them out of my head most of the time. And I love doing this. So thank you so much for your shares, guys. And Indrani, thank you for, yeah.
Thank you very much, Shipu, for doing this. You are doing this you are making all of us very happy and very and very informative too.
Thank you, Indrani. I really appreciate you guys' time, and I wish you an amazing weekend.
You too, all of you. Have a happy and enjoyable and funny weekend.
And let's send blue light to Ravi so that his voice clears, and next week
Why Ravi is silent this time? I don't know.
yeah, because he texted in private that he's got flu and he's
Yeah. But
so
thanks a lot for the blessings, Sheetal. Thank you.
Ravi, the one time I come on video, you didn't come on video.
I can still come on video. So let me say hi to everybody and then say.
it made it seem as if you were like bedridden, sick, and he's doing that typical employee excuse. Oh, I'm not feeling well.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, okay, take a rest. Drink your honey water, and I'll do everything, and you're okay. What are you talking about?
I look okay, but I'm not able to control my cough.
Because no spectacles this time. That's why.
It's here.
Yeah. Now, Ravi is so beautiful, so handsome.
Thank you. My wife is beside, so yeah, she'll feel jealous.
Hi.
You see
Please
this?
be jealous.
You
Please
see this?
be jealous.
People are missing because he's not on video, because they can appreciate your husband.
Already she is struggling with the fan following, so yeah.
I think, yeah, we know the reason why he was doing the sick thing. That's okay. Sometimes you can be off the video, Ravi. Thank you. And yeah, well, in all seriousness, please get better soon.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Madhu.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bye,
Happy weekend.
You too.
Thank you, Sheetal. Bye. Thank you, everyone. Take care.